Ever have a day where your heart's windshield felt like it was wiping all these buggy comments, all these insincere or maybe hurtful words that are being said to you, whether it's friends, strangers, family members, and it's hurting? Let's talk about how you can keep a clear view of who you are and wipe those stinky comments off of your heart. Hey friend, the daily demands of life leave you exhausted and burnt out with no time for yourself. Are you feeling alone in your relationship and hopeless of life ever changing? Hey, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Christina, married 18 years to my neurodiverse husband and mom of 3 neurodiverse kids. Welcome to the Neurodiverse Family Life Podcast, where we are reclaiming self-care for moms while still being a loving wife and mother. Get ready to begin your self-care journey. Grab your latte planner as you listen in and take small steps towards a healthier you. Hey friends, thanks for taking time to hang out with me. I'm guessing you're driving or doing some laundry, or maybe you're cleaning up some mega mess. I know I've done that many times as I've been listening to podcasts. It kept me company as I was working through problems or trying to figure out what to make for supper. So thanks for taking the time. Also, I want to give a shout out to Latoya, who left a review. And she said, as a single mom to 4 neurodiverse kids, it's so refreshing to listen to Christina's encouraging words. She really gets it. Love the reminder in episode 25 to make time to care for myself, mind, and emotions so I can show up for my kids and self. Thank you, Latoya. And if you haven't had an opportunity to leave a review yet, please do so, whether it's on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening to the podcast. Please do so, because that is a great way to say thank you to me, but also those reviews help others discover it, and it's a way for the podcast to grow. So I appreciate that time you take. Now today we're focusing on your heart. This is being recorded during bug season. When you take a drive outside, at least in the United States, there are so many bugs, and car washes or scrubbing off that windshield is needed. It seems like you can't go more than 10 miles, and it's like this plethora of just splat, 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 splat. And I was thinking how our hearts can be the same way. Imagine your heart being like a windshield, and people will say things, sometimes not even aware that that comment was like a bug splatting on your heart, on the windshield of your heart. Sometimes people say it intentionally, which that's really sad. Or someone can be impatient and forget that there's a relationship and just say however they want to say it. Or sometimes someone's not regulated and the words come out very hurtful. What do you do in those moments to get a clear view of yourself? Because that is a goal. We don't want to be staying in the hurtful comments. Now, quick caveat, there are moments when we do need to process hurtful words and actions, especially when there's trauma, with a person who is trauma informed to guide us through, because some things are more than just comments and words said. Sometimes there are trends and patterns that need to be looked at. So this is not referring to an ongoing traumatic issue with someone in the past, in your childhood, or maybe in your marriage. That is not referring to that. This is referring to comments people say. It could be anyone in their family. It can be co-workers, a person. I had this happen recently, actually, and I'll share about that in a second. But they can say things that this hit us really hard, and we need a way to process it. So for me, it was someone at the library, and my friend helped me process this. But I was at the library and waiting for my son to come out, and someone just went off on me, just began screaming at me because of where I was parked. Granted, I could have parked someplace else, and I will admit that, but my reflection was afterwards, I was pretty shaken because I was just sitting there. I was actually pretty tired, worn out. It was a long day. And to have someone just start screaming at you out of nowhere and shaking their fist at you, it's alarming. And a comment my friend made was, Imagine what that person is like around their family and friends if they're willing to yell at a complete stranger at the top of their lungs for something that's trivial, like parking. And that really made me think. And I prayed for that person then after I calmed my nervous system down. It took me a bit. But what do we do when these comments are shared and said and we didn't want it? Or maybe the person, we realize they're going to, their relational circuits are going to turn back on, as Dr. Jim Wilder will say, and they will realize they should not have said that. So these are the 4 steps I suggest for you to take. Okay, number 1, and I've done this myself, so this is me speaking from personal experience, is breathe. Breathing in and breathing out, because oftentimes when these comments are said, they can be triggering because maybe they remind us of something that happened in the past, or maybe it is so out of the blue. We were having a very nice, a peaceful day, and then this zinger comes in from left field, and we're just like, what is going on? So breathing is the first thing, and not that we're trying to make it all better in this one step, but more so we just have to acknowledge that something happened, and we need to take a moment to just slowly breathe. And that's what I did after this person started yelling at me. And give a little bit of space just to process. Just breathing in and out slowly, listening to some calming music, or maybe not listen to anything, depending upon where your mind space is. The next thing to do is to journal, is to write out what exactly happened. Like, this is more of a vomiting, sorry to use that description, but you're just getting it out. You're getting everything out of what happened, the words. Maybe you're writing down where you're at in the kitchen or at the store, wherever you're writing out all the details. You're just getting it out. Now, if you don't have time to journal, if you have a friend that you can do this over Marco, or maybe using a Boxer or Signal, whatever app you have, maybe you want to do a self note. If you were talking to other people already on there, you can do a note to yourself, and you can just verbally express it that way. You're not sending it to anyone, but you're sending it just to yourself to process. And maybe you play it back and you listen to it and you go, wow, that's really intense emotions. Or you're able to go ahead and just write out what you said based upon that voice note you left for yourself. Again, you're not sending it to anyone, but you're just using it. I'm using those apps as an example that oftentimes people communicate with friends on, but you can usually leave a note for yourself in those. So the third thing, okay, so 1, you did some deep breathing just to kind of bring down your nervous system from where it was before. You did some journaling, or again, if you're like, Christina, life is so busy, you're doing a voice note. Third thing is to contemplate, to really contemplate, okay, what did happen? Why did I react that way? Why was that so alarming to me? Why was that so hurtful? Really just taking the time to think that through, especially when there's a stranger involved. Sometimes it's more than the strange person, or not strange, well, it could be a strange person, but a stranger saying these hurtful things to you. It can be that comment connected with something someone else has said in the past to you, and really is showing that you need to process previous said words. Or is because you feel like there's some partial truth in it, maybe. Or maybe there's nothing truth in it at all, but it still hurt. It still hits you really deeply. I remember a time when I had no windshield wipers on my heart, and I had no ability to wipe off buggy and hurtful comments. And it was hard for me, very hard, because they just kept piling up and piling up and piling up, until I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to, like, why is this sticking to me? Why are these hurtful words sticking to the windshield of my heart? I need to get these off. And this is one of the ways I did that. So by contemplating, like, why was this hurtful, you can realize that the words itself was hurtful. There was nothing in the past that brought up. It was just plain old hurtful by itself. Or it could be it was unkind, but it reminded you of something that uncle or maybe grandparent or parent said to you. Maybe it's a teacher from school or kind of a constant messaging you had as a child, or maybe it's because your spouse has used similar words towards you. Contemplate that. And then, if you need to, contemplate this with a friend, someone who is not going to be, importantly, not going to be, oh my goodness, that person is awful, and like just basically being on the bandwagon. You want a supportive friend, but you don't need someone just parroting everything that you're saying. And thankfully, I have a few key people in my life, and my friend helped me with this. She helped just like listen to me and provided like feedback to me that was enlightening and really helped me see it differently. So, whether it's by yourself or you're talking to someone else, and for them to be speaking truth and saying, well, yeah, this one part was a little bit true, but how they delivered it, how they said it was not okay. Or this is all balderdash. This is all baloney salami and completely out of line. I mean, like that's what you need. Someone who's able to be objective and not hateful towards a person, but just objective. And so important. Now, the last step, this is the crucial, do not stop until you get through number 4. Number 4 is truth. What is the truth? What is the truth of the situation? One, if we did make a mistake, we have to acknowledge it. We have to admit it. And especially if you are a perfectionist, this is very difficult, but it's important to admit, you know what? I did have that responsibility. I did not follow through. There were extenuating circumstances, yes, but I knew that I needed extra time because of those circumstances and I didn't take it. Okay, sure, admit that truth. However, if the person said to you that you're awful and lazy and no good, that, no thank you. That is not needed. So the truth is like, yes, I need to work better on planning out my projects. But the truth is, I am not a complete mistake and loser just because I had this problem that surfaced. Do you see what I'm saying? We need to acknowledge that there is something truthful there without hurtful comments. There should be no extreme maliciousness. There should be no maliciousness in a truthful, honest feedback. It may sting, as in like, ow, like, ooh, that was pretty honest, but it shouldn't cause harm. Yes, we all need to grow, and sometimes having that feedback of, I remember myself, someone who said to me many, many years ago that I was not strong in time management. It was a supervisor, and basically said, if you want to continue this job, you need to figure out how to manage your time and planning better. And yeah, that didn't feel good to hear, but they didn't cause harm because they said it with love and constructive feedback. It caused me to grow. So what is the truth in this situation? But also, what is the truth about who you are? Now, again, I'm a person of faith, so I'm going to bring in a faith perspective and then a non-faith perspective. So, for example, if someone said, like, you just mess up all the time, like, are you ever going to get it together? I would remember Psalm 139:14. I will praise you because I am remarkably and wondrously made. That's the CSB version, Christian Standard Bible, but there is the NIV, the NIV version says fearfully and wonderfully made. Remembering how I am made, like when we're created, when we're born, like there's nothing that we've done to like attain success or praise. And so when we go back to that verse, it talks about like how we were made and it was remarkable and it was wondrous. Like that is so important to remember in those hard moments. If you're not a person of faith, I would remind you that you're a person of dignity, that you're a person of value, and that I am almost like 99.99% sure that if you had a friend tell you this whole story, you would be up in arms and you would be saying, no, that is not true. You are an amazing person. You are a caring person. You are, and they will say all those things. Now, friend, it's time to flip it around. You are the same thing. If you are defending other people based upon who they are and how they're made, but yet you won't do it for yourself, that's a flashlight shining on your heart saying, if it's the phrase, which I don't know where this comes from, it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If it's good for your friends, it is good for you too. That you are an amazing person. Yes, we make mistakes, sometimes amazing mistakes that we want to dig a hole and stick our head in there like an ostrich. But that does not define us. That shapes us a little bit perhaps. It does not define us at all. So again, real quick recap. Someone says something, those buggy comments that hit the windshield of our heart, we're going to breathe until we feel a little calmer. When we have a moment, we're going to journal. And if you're really out and about and going everywhere and you don't have a moment, you're stepping someplace aside and you're doing a quick voice note to process it. Third, you're going to contemplate. You're going to contemplate, why does this sting? Why does this hurt? Anything of truth in there that we have to admit, anything that is complete lies, and those things need to burn and die. And then the fourth thing, truth. What is the truth of the situation? I hope this gives you a little bit of encouragement when, especially in the summer months, depending where you live in the world, this can be the time when people are home more, kids are home, schedules are different, and when schedules are off, sometimes comments can start flying. So remember this and who you are, and don't let those comments stick to the windshield of your heart. Get those wiped off. And if there are cracks in your windshield of your heart, if there are holes from rocks that have popped up and hit that windshield, that's when you need to find someone who's able to provide that specialized coaching or counseling to walk you through that hurt and to provide healing. Hey, thank you for joining me today. I pray this episode gave you encouragement to take one small step. If so, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help other women find this show. By the way, if you're loving this conversation and want more encouragement like this, join my email list at bit.ly/myselfcare. That is bit.ly/myselfcare. I have a planner launching soon that will help you put all this into action in your own life. I look forward to chatting with you again next week for another episode.